Mr. Haynes, good morning.
Good morning.
Would
Thank
you
you for the
introduce yourself? What's your
Yes,
name,
ma'am.
DOC number?
Thomas Haynes, 308610.
Right, and let me let you know, Mr. Haynes, we have joining us this morning also by Zoom, Terrence Wynn. And here with us in Baton Rouge, we have Melvin Franklin Jr., who both of whom want to speak on your behalf. We'll ask them to do so at the appropriate time. First, let me read some identifying information into the record. Mr. Haynes, you're classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a 73-year, 29-day sentence for convictions in East Baton Rouge, attempted second-degree murder, as a habitual offender, attempted second-degree murder, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and armed robbery. All that occurred, or sentencing occurred in 2003. You did have you were first sentenced for the armed robbery in 1992, and at some point were afforded good time supervision, but that was revoked because of the new convictions in 2003. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So let me, how long have you been in Allen, sir?
I've been in Allen since March of last year. So I've been here like
a little over a year, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm going to tell you what concerns me about your record.
Okay.
And I'm sure you know. I see the record shows a substantial loss of good time, 420 days. I see you have 132 write-ups in your jacket, the last being in 2022, which in my view is not that long ago. Probably seems like a long time to you. I do see that you have taken some anger management and risk management and living in balance, but I'm concerned about the disciplinary record. I do have in the record, we do have letters of support from your family members. Of course, we have opposition that's been expressed by victims and law enforcement. So, and the prosecutor's office has expressed opposition. So I want you to tell me why you think we should consider favorably for you today.
Okay. Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to be able to make amends for the wrong that I've done to these victims and to present myself as a better person today. You know, my conduct record here, you know, it speaks volumes of the type of person that I was when I came into the system, you know, and I was a mess. And I've been through a lot of ups and downs. You know, I've wrestled with the ideal of proving the system wrong, you know, to the point that I had to face reality and actually take responsibility for my actions and truly decide whether or not I want to stay stagnated in this mindset, you know, or move past this for something better, you know. So I had to pray on that. I had to pray hard on that. And, you know, looking at the system as the enemy, I had to recognize that the system ain't just come about to entertain me. The system has been around for years, and the system can actually work because I've seen a lot of people that have been in this situation that got up and did something about their situation. So based on those examples, you know, I had to come to terms with who I wanted to be. I got tired of looking at who I had became and decided that I wanted to be better. So, you know, my
and that change happened once you got to Allen?
No, ma'am. That change started at David Wade. I was in the cells at David Wade going through on transition. And I prayed hard for change. And You know, I believe that faith without works is dead works. So I had to actually walk the walk instead of just talk that talk.
Right, so
And
let me stop you now, and I do see, since you've been there, the change started happening at David Wade, but you continued getting in trouble. I won't go into the nature of the write-ups, but you continued getting into trouble. But I do see that, as I mentioned, you haven't had any write-ups, it appears, to me at least, in about a year and a half, which is
Yes, ma'am.
probably the longest time you've ever been without a write-up.
That's exactly where I was going.
So wait a minute. I'll tell you when you can talk.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just wanting to get a few things on the record. I did not hear, I mentioned some of your programs that you have taken, and when I go back and I look at your crime was violent crimes, all of them were violent crimes.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
were on supervision for an armed robbery when these attempted murders occurred. And you fired an assault rifle at a vehicle and also a residence occupied by at least 9 people. You had no idea how many people you could kill. You didn't care, apparently. And so as I consider that and I look at your programs, it seems to me you could benefit from things like thinking for change. I think I don't see any real significant substance abuse education or treatment in your record. Is there? Did I miss?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, just
Yes,
show me the certificates.
Yes,
Just
ma'am. I have thinking for a change. I have thinking for a change, the pre-release program. I have AA self-help. I have in living balance 1 and 2.
all of those you've taken at Allen?
I've taken those. I've taken some at Allen and some at David Wade. I took the in living balance 1 and 2, risk management, anger management at David Wade. Since being here, I've been participating in the substance abuse. That should be in my record. I have a certificate submitted just the other day. And
what's your job? What's your job?
I'm a laundry orderly here at
Okay.
and a dorm orderly, yeah. But
You're
I'm presently waiting to graduate, thinking for a change this week.
Oh, good. That's why I didn't have it in the record, because you hadn't finished it.
Right. But they put me
Are
here.
you a trustee?
They've been working with me here. And they got me in all of the programs that matter, that they offer. Basically, I'm in everything.
Mr. Haynes,
Yes.
my question is, are you a trustee?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what class of trustee?
I'm in an honor status. I have an honor status.
Okay, good. That's good to know. That's good to know. For me, I'm going to listen to the warden in just a minute, but for me, and I'll hear from the folks that want to speak today, but for me, I have a hang up with the conduct record. I'm glad it does seem that you've turned the corner. Your change has begun. That's the note I made in my record, but I need a longer period of sustained good behavior before I could vote for it. I think you're on track, but that's where I'm at. We'll hear from my colleagues. Y'all have any questions?
No, I was going to say the same thing. It appears that the courses that you started taking and have completed have just started since your parole eligibility date. So the first 20 years, we didn't do much. And your conduct has gotten better since your parole eligibility date. So I was just, in my mind, I'm wondering, are you truly a changed person, or is it a scheme? Have you changed because you see some light at the end of the tunnel, and so you're trying to convince us of that? And that's my only question. I'm thinking out loud for you. I'm not accusing. I'm proud that you have changed. I'm proud that you've changed in your mind and in what you're saying and the courses you're taking and your discipline. All those are going the right direction. But I'm trying to decide in my mind before I vote, is this a scam? And so that's what's on my mind as you talk. But you don't have to, there's nothing, I wasn't asking a question. Thank you.
Before I ask the ward for his comments, I have 2 more questions. Mr. Haynes, have you, ever made any attempt to contact your victims or any of their family?
Yes, ma'am. I have contacted, Mr. Charles, and I've made contact with Ms. Najee. And I can't stress enough,
What was the reason for the contact?
when I talked to, Charles, I had to explain to them, he put it in the words to me like, two wrongs don't make a right. He said, what happened to his family was wrong, and that, he
So
wanted
you made
answers.
contact for what reason?
I made contact with Charles because I wanted to understand. At the time, I really was trying to figure out how I could slip through the cracks, how I could beat the system.
Yep, okay, good. I'm glad you're honest with me. That speaks a lot.
was
You know,
trying-
it's
I was
illegal
trying-
for you, excuse me, sir. It's against the law for you to contact your victims, and we have information in the record that you contacted both Mr. Charles and Ms. Naja, particularly Ms. Naja, to try to help you with your appeal. And I just wanted to put that on the record. Warden, Warden Thompson, is there anything you can tell us about Mr. Haynes?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I want to set the record straight in regards to his comment they actually made in regard to him actually being a trustee. He's currently not a trustee. Okay, I think he has some things confused on that, but he's not a trustee. He and I actually had a talk just on the other day, and the biggest thing I encourage him to actually do is to try to find himself, making himself available to try to get involved in any kind of self-help classes. That's the key thing. He still have a lot of time he actually got to do. He started out real bad into the system. Within the last year and a half, he's trying to improve, but he's still got a long way to actually go.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And I couldn't agree with you more. Mr. Haynes, we're going to listen to your guest. First, we'd like to hear from Terrence Wynn, who's on Zoom.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just would like to say that Mr. Haynes he's a typical person that goes through the system. He's been in the system a while. And like Mr. Prater was saying, he was trying to find out, he was thinking out loud to see whether or not it's a scheme, but change usually starts from something. And I think that his change started because he really wanted to go home. And to know that you want to go home, you know that you got to set aside all your bad ways, all the things that keeps you in the system and makes you make bad decisions. I think that he placed those to the side to understand what was more important. And what's more important is to get programs, which he's done, and to stay away from write-ups, which he's done, and to grow up, to mature. And I think he's done that. And I think that he's shown signs of really wanting to come home and do the right things. I don't think he wants to scheme anybody anymore because now it's no longer on the victims or the victims' families. I think he knows that everything sets on him. He has to do everything. Nobody else can let him go home. He has to make sure he do everything right to go home. And I think he's set himself on that course. And so today I just ask that you look at the changes and please just give him a favorable recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate seeing you and thanks for participating. We have with us here Mr. Melvin Franklin. Mr. Franklin, could we hear from you, sir?
Will face you all.
Yeah. He'll be able to see, I think. Can y'all fix the camera on him?
I am here for Thomas Haynes this morning on behalf of the employment. I have here a certificate where the mayor have given me to open a tire shop at 4362 Florida Boulevard, Miss Sharon Brew. And today I was kind of hoping that I would hear some good news on Thomas' behalf. I know time does bring on a change for a person. But in this tire shop, we change tires, rims, we rotate tires, there. Also, we do brakes there. It's paid. We work from 7 to 5:30 there. His pay would be $12 an hour there, Monday through Saturday. We off on Sundays there. So, and also I do have a state license. I do, a subcontract with stucco and bricks. So I do have another opportunity for him as well in the field. With unemployment there as well. So it's up to you all now, but he will have a job whenever he's eligible.
That's great. That's good news. Thank you, sir. We
Thank
appreciate it.
you,
Thanks
thank
for
you
coming.
all.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming. All right, Mr. Haynes,
Yes, ma'am.
we will get there you are. Over there. Is there a brief statement you'd like to make to us before we vote?
Yes, ma'am. With regards to the misunderstanding with the trustee status, okay, well, I have an honor status, due to the fact that the conduct record is a big issue. And here at Allen, 6 months without a write-up, 6 months of actual incarceration without a write-up, you qualify as an honor status. And with my 18 months without a disciplinary report, I have an honor status. I now live in an honor dorm, an honor unit. And it's like honor status / trustees unit. So I didn't know the exact details about my new status. So that's where that confusion came from earlier. But as far as the victims, my victims in this case, all right, I never made an attempt to contact some of those victims. I used like a private investigator. I sought permission that was within the law. I never tried to cross no lines that would jeopardize anyone's freedom, but like I say, to be honest with you, I was fighting for my appeals and I was reaching for every straw that I could reach for. But as far as that goes, I can't justify anything outside of trying to get my freedom back, so it was the wrong way.
So listen, Mr. Haynes, I think we get your message, and let me tell you what, it's not just about getting out of jail. It's about staying out of jail. And you got some work to do. You got some work to do in that regard. And look, I'm really proud of you that you're in the honor dorm. That says a lot that you have turned the corner. I think Terrence Wynn said that you're showing signs, and I agree, because I can see it now in your conduct record and stuff. But and I'm really pleased that Mr. Franklin wants to offer you the job opportunity. You've got stuff to work for them. For me, I'm not willing to take a chance today, but I'd like to see you back once you have remained write-up free to your next eligibility for a hearing date. Have some more programs under your belt, and you might have a different outcome. But for me today, sir, my vote is to deny your parole. And I want to hear back from you, and I want to see a good record next time. Good luck to you, Mr. Prater.
I concur. I concur with that and deny it.
Mr. Tillum.
I concur.
All right, you got some work to do, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Go to work. Good luck.
No problem. Thank you.
All right.